This is a mini meditation guided by Bombas. Repeat after me. I'm comfy. I'm cozy. I have 0 blisters on my toes. And that's because I wear Bombas, the softest socks, underwear, and t-shirts that give back. One purchased equals one donated. Now go to bombas.com/Wondery and use code WONDERY for 20% off your first purchase. That's BOMBAS.com/Wondery and use code WONDERY at checkout.
This is a HeadGum podcast.
You got mail.
Hi, I'm Alise Morales.
And I'm Millie Tamaras.
And this is
Go Touch
Grass, the podcast where we log in
so you can log off.
Millie and I are two chronically online comedians, and on this pod, we break down the week in internet discourse, viral memes, TikTok trends, and niche influencer drama so that you can go do literally anything else.
And if you like what you hear today and want to hear more, we got to Go Touch Grass Patreon with tons more content weekly, access to our Discord community, and our spin-off series Search History, where we go back and break down a viral discourse from the past. Last week's Patreon was all about the various dramas online surrounding this year's Super Bowl. So go and check that out if you want to have any karmic context as to what happened. Also, I will say our Discord community is popping because one of our Grass Nation citizens is also a huge Phillies fan. So she was able to fill in the blanks to things that we, didn't know and stuff. So it's a good companion piece to our Patreon for sure.
Yes. I mean, that's the wonderful thing about being a member of Grass Nation and being in our Discord community is that, sometimes people have knowledge that we don't have. And we are open to that.
We are so
always open to that. I will say, guys, if you can't tell, we don't have a guest this week because I am in the Florida Keys. Baby.
Look at me. I'm so jealous.
I am living it up. As soon as we are done recording, I'm going to go sit on the beach in the marina and read a book. And last night I went to a Super Bowl party at my uncle's place that just so happened to be all Phillies fans from around the neighborhood. And they were having a ball. They were quite happy.
That's like, I mean, not the opposite, but I was at a Super Bowl party with Jess Tom, Tessa Escara, like all of our queer trans friends who do comedy, and it was so woke, and we were all just super high talking shit, barely watching the football game. But it was crazy. It was a crazy, like, the amount of interceptions and stuff, it was nuts.
Yeah, like even I kind of made this point to myself that I was like, I'm going to sit down and actually watch, and I'm going to try to understand, because as I say in our Patreon episode, I don't totally understand the rules of football, but I'm like,
it's not easy.
I'm like, I can make an effort to understand more. And I texted this to you. I was like, I mean, I understand when it's 0. When I'm looking at the number 0 to 26, 34, I'm like, I get what's happening.
Yeah, they're getting their ass whooped. I think Travis Kelce said it was the worst he's ever played in his life or something like that. Or they've never played that bad before ever. So
I said that I was going to put a theory out to you. I did wear my Eras Tour t-shirt last night. That was the closest thing that I had to merchandise revolving around the game. Though I did very clearly say, I was like, I am not rooting for the Chiefs. I am rooting for Taylor to have a nice time. And I'm rooting for the Phillies. Philadelphia Eagles. Sorry, Phillies are the baseball team. Listen, anyway.
It was close.
So here's my theory. Because now there's this kind of like famous picture of Taylor watching from the stands.
Yeah.
I think if Taylor ends up getting the ick with Travis Kelce, the seeds of that ick were sown last night and in the preceding days, because as we discuss more in depth on the Patreon, Travis made this statement being like, I think it's great that Trump is coming to the game, whatever. Again, if you want to hear more about that, go to the Patreon. But I think, knowing Taylor as I do, I think on a my man level, she would have expected him to be a little bit less effusive about someone who literally tweeted, "I hate
I hate
Taylor Swift." so, so number one, I think that she's probably a little miffed about that. A little miffed about the fact that he's like brought the political conversation to her door again after she and Tree Payne worked so hard to write that endorsement of Kamala
Yeah.
with the cat.
the childless cat lady
Yeah,
endorsement.
like they worked really hard on that. And and then now she goes to the game. They boo her when they show her in the stands at one
Oh, that's
point,
crazy.
which I'm like, you're really gonna boo someone who's just here to watch her boyfriend?
Yeah, that's
That's
insane.
loser behavior.
But that's just misogynist.
Yeah, exactly. That's just literally it reminds me of guys who go to the Eras tour and wear a shirt that's like, my girlfriend made me come to the Eras tour. Like, I don't even want to be here. Like, just weird.
But these are weirder because they paid thousands of dollars to watch football. And I guess it's whatever. Okay, let's I can't even get into the mindset of somebody who boos Taylor Swift at the fucking
Yeah, when they just show her on the Jumbotron for 1 second. So number one, she gets booed. You know she doesn't like that.
she hates it.
There's gonna be a lyric about the whole stadium booing me, whatever. That's coming, forthcoming, lyric loading. Then she has to stand there and watch him lose, like, bad. And I think that Taylor is used to like acute moments of really intense attention, like the Kanye thing, or like long periods of like floppage, like Reputation era time, where it's like she's living her life, the narrative around her isn't good. But I don't think she's ever had to stand there for like 3 fucking hours just watching a loss for that long. So, because usually if she's doing something for 3 hours, it's the Eras tour and everyone's like,
Yeah, but she's like not she's there with her friends. Like it's kind of a networking event. It's a who's who, whatever. But yeah, so your theory is that she's getting the ick.
the seeds of an ick, I think, may have been sown last night. I'm not wishing that upon them. I hope that they're happy, whatever. But I do think that that was a lot of different things that Taylor constitutionally does not like. Because even if she's there with her friends and stuff, she knows that there's a stadium full of 1 million people where at any given point, someone's looking at her to see what she's thinking and doing. So she has to comport herself in a way of like caring about the game, even if whether she does.
Trump also got booed, so that makes me feel better.
Yeah, there's a really good picture of a guy just giving him the finger, which I really like.
Yeah. So come see, come saw.
If I'm in the same space as Donald Trump and I also get booed, I'm like, what the fuck?
Yeah, no, that's
I would be
tough.
like, what? I'm a musician.
That's tough. That's
Like,
tough.
that
That's tough.
sucks. I can't be being booed alongside Donald Trump.
That's tough.
So
tough.
that's what I have to say. And don't forget to leave us a 5-star rating and review. We love reviews. We need more of them. But the best review you can give us is to tell your friends, tag us in a little story. You know that we're online.
And as you know, 2025 is marking Go Touch Grass's pivot to video. We'll be sharing full episodes of our podcast uploaded for your viewing pleasure. Audio will still be out on Wednesdays, but our video episodes will be out on Saturdays. Go enjoy us there as well. I sometimes, when I'm referencing something, I'll just drop it in. I dropped in parts of Annie DeRusso's music video. I dropped in parts of the Selena Gomez performance. I did drop in the Lilo and Stitch reference that I was talking about so people know what I'm talking about. So yeah, just check out our YouTube.
This episode will be up on YouTube too, even virtual recordings. Millie has
Yes.
gorgeous like half
Fleece.
zip on right now.
Yes.
Fleece. You can see that I'm in a Floridian state. I'm coming at you from my dad's office, as you can tell by all the like vinyl records.
What is that vinyl in the corner in the back? The guy. Marvin Gaye.
That's Marvin Gaye. What's going on? And then I don't know who's next. And then it's like Beatles. There's more Beatles over here. There's actually Beatles in front of me.
It's giving boomer.
It's giving my dad's office.
Yeah, your dad's office. Exactly. Well, yeah, let's talk about, we have our segment of our show we haven't done in a while. It's called What Are They Talking About? Mm-hmm. This is from former guest of the pod, from our Kiss My Grits episode, Marsha Belsky, close friend of mine. So the tweet is, this is not okay and exactly why we need to fight for men's rights. Alise, so you know how the game works. I read a tweet, you try to think of what is this in response to. And we go from there. So Marcia says this is not okay. Exactly why we need to fight for men's rights. But also you have the context of Marcia, whose podcast used to literally be called Miss Andrew. So
Yeah, so it is Marcia, so I know she's being a little jokester.
mhm,
I'm trying to think about what I feel like when I think about men's rights topics, I'm always thinking about like divorce or custody related
mhm.
battles or like um ladies night, like got people who sue because there's like ladies night at a club or something.
Sure, sure, sure.
um I'm going to go with
Ladies.
like
That's so like apt though.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with something. There's like a women's only event or something that is being promoted.
There is a guy that denounced Galentine's Day. That's not what this is in reference to, but he
Oh,
denounced it and people are talking, but I couldn't find the original video to make him Grasshole.
yeah.
But Elise, so your guess is that it's an all women's event that the person that Marsha is retweeting is in response to. That's your
Yeah,
final.
something that's like ladies book club or whatever.
Okay. The tweet is from @the_coop and it goes as this. I've been married for 16 years. I like crunchy peanut butter and my wife likes smooth. I haven't had crunchy peanut butter in 16 years.
Oh. Oh no. Why can't he buy his own peanut butter for himself?
It's not okay. This is why we fight for men's rights.
It's the most like old hacky like, well, what she says goes, blah, blah, blah. Like, my wife is so annoying humor. And it's like, well, why don't you just buy peanut butter for yourself or say to your wife, like, hey, do you think you could also get the crunchy peanut butter? Like, how involved are you in the grocery shopping?
This reminds me of a time when my brother and was talking to his wife, and you were over at my house, and I was making a peanut butter and jelly. And my brother goes to his wife, like, you see, this is the jelly I like: grape jelly, strawberry jelly. Please stop buying pineapple or orange to eat with
That's
peanut butter
tough.
and jelly. And I'm like, look, part of it is like, yeah, do the grocery shopping. But if you say get jelly and you bring orange marmalade,
Yeah,
I'm
no.
sorry. Like,
I will say, yeah, if I'm putting jelly on the grocery list and anything other than grape or strawberry is coming it returning to me, I think that you took liberties with the grocery list in a way that's not fair.
but if it's peanut butter and you like chunky and you like smooth, then that's on you. But the thing, but guess what? My brother and his wife are divorced. So
So that'll do it. Yeah, I
that'll
mean,
do it.
again, it's just like it's such like a hacky joke and also it's so like why don't you just take charge of the peanut butter situation in your home?
And you know he's getting roasted, but I
Oh,
just thought
yeah.
that this was funny. Yeah, so that's the what are we talking
What are
about?
we talking about? And it's a great to play the game again because
Yeah,
it's been a minute. But the thing about what are they talking about is like it's not manufacturable. You
yeah,
know,
it's
it's
tough too because sometimes it's like so crazy and it has to be formatted in the right way where you can't possibly guess.
yes.
Exactly like you're saying, it's not formattable. Speaking of formattable, at least we have two software updates.
Wow.
Two software
Wow.
updates. Software update is our segment where we kind of update people on topics that we've covered in the past.
Yes,
So last week we covered Carla Sofia Gascon's tweets,
we did.
and Carla Sofia Gascon is the lead in Emilia Perez. Since our last episode, both you and I have watched Emilia Perez,
We
and I
did.
did want to give an update. I want to be transparent. I never want to say I'm above learning or listening or this and that. So I will say, just for me, and then I'll open the floor for you. After we read all the tweets and we saw all the reviews for Emilia Perez, I was thinking Emilia Perez was going to be the most dog shit terrible, tasteless movie I've ever seen. And I'm here to say on the record that it's not that bad. And I would say in some parts, it's a little good.
Okay, so I had, as I said on the episode, started and stopped Emilia Perez a couple times. I wasn't in the headspace to take
You
it
have to
on.
be in the right
It
headspace.
wasn't grabbing me. And then Millie texted me and she was like, I'm starting to watch it. And I was like, you know what? I'm folding laundry in my room. Now is the time. I'm going to watch it. And I will say that I agree that it's not the worst movie I've ever seen in my life. It's definitely goofy at certain points. Like the
Yes.
very famous sex change operation scene, I find to be quite goofy.
Yeah, but then when you see in context of like, oh, it's a montage where she's visiting various countries, having to repeat the same things over and over again, it's interesting. I think that it literally is what it is. A very, very good, talented director who's a liberal French guy and he's well meaning, but is just so arrogant to not get any help. I think it was made with good intentions and that there is some right things, but like it was just missing that half degree of nuance that a
Yeah.
Mexican cultural consultant would have had. And again, if a trans person says they don't like it, I'm not going to be like, well, I think it's fine. But to me, I feel like there was a lot of care given to the trans storyline. There were interesting points about the dissing and the disappeared, but people are like, the plot doesn't make sense and this and that, and the songs are corny. And I'm like, yeah, but I feel like that's just by nature of it being, he called it an opera libretto. So it's kind of like in operas and musicals, like sometimes the story and the plot suffers a little bit because it's through a song. Like it's not, I don't know.
Yeah, but I mean, some are good. So like you can do it where it's good. I guess my feeling is to go back to the like very viral song. I felt like that one just like it sonically sounds not good in a
Yeah,
way that
yeah,
the
yeah.
other songs don't sound like that, where it's like I don't understand the rhyme structure that's happening. I agree with you. It didn't feel like a movie with ill intent, but I felt like there was something about it where you could tell like it was being made from an outsider's perspective
Yeah.
about these issues, and you could just tell. And I think if you are someone who's an insider on those issues, it's probably very, very obvious in many ways. Mild spoiler, so if you don't want to know anything about the plot of Emilia Perez, hit that 15 seconds forward button. It was very funny to me that there's basically a Mrs. Doubtfire situation that happens
Yeah.
between Selena Gomez and Carla
Yeah.
Sofia Gascon.
Yeah. And I'll say, yeah. And that was interesting. And like, I don't know, that's an interesting story that we haven't heard before. Like,
Well, we heard it in Mrs. Doubtfire.
well, we heard it in Mrs. Doubtfire, but Robin Williams' character doesn't actually transition. And the Mrs. Doubtfire was doing it as a comedy, but it's like, yeah, what if you transition to make a part of yourself or like to accept yourself in a different way or to love yourself in a different way, but then you sacrifice your children or whatever. So I don't know. I thought it wasn't as bad as I thought. And I will say this is probably my hottest take, which I did tell Elise in private. I said, if you're doing a 1-to-1 side by side directorial ability, lighting, choreography, cinematography, Emil Perez is better than Wicked to me. It's using cinema more in the service of the musical numbers, and it's more interesting and more artistic and more whatever.
I do think it looked better lighting, editing, color grading wise. I agree with the complaints about Wicked's color grading. I do think that what is this feeling in Wicked? The Dear Galinda, you are just too good. That
Yeah.
song. I think that is one of the best movie musical numbers
Okay.
ever done in a
Okay.
movie. But I also think some of the other numbers are not. Hot take, I actually agree with Ben Shapiro that some of the momentum of Defying Gravity was messed up with all of the cuts and stuff. So yeah, I do think there's a reason why the Emilia Perez director is nominated for Best Director and John M. Chu is not
It's not.
nominated.
I just think that the choices that they made were interesting.
Yeah, there was a lot of visually interesting stuff. The song in particular that is about the disappeared people of Mexico, I found to be very affecting. Like, they
Yeah,
have people singing to camera. So anyway, keep
yeah.
it at 100 here. We watched Emilia Perez and we both were like, I mean, it's not the worst movie I've ever seen.
And yeah, like I think that, a lot of people were like, how dare, like, why the fuck is it get nominated and this and that? And then, but they haven't watched it. And then I watched it and I'm like, oh, I understand like why it got nominated for all these things. And I guess the tragedy of it is that Carla Sofia Gascon was good in it. And like
Yeah.
they put her in male makeup and costuming and she did something there. And then, when she transitioned, obviously she's beautiful and did great acting, but you could just tell in the way that they were talking. Some of the slang that they used in Emilia Perez was Spanish, like Spain slang and not Mexican slang. So whatever. But anyway, we don't have to. This is not a film podcast. Kind of. It is a little bit.
We'll dive into it sometimes, but we did want to keep it 100 with you guys
Mm-hmm.
about our feelings about the film Emilia
Yeah.
Perez.
Yeah.
Shall we move on to our second software update?
Our second software update. On our Katie Nolan episode, we talked about Cardi B and Offset's public breakup. And we said Cardi needs her Russell Wilson, an NFL player, corny family oriented athlete that will be all things Offset is most specifically tall. On the pod, I went back, I did my research. I checked in with Katie Nolan. She said it was good. I suggested Matt Collins, who is a very hot player for the Buffalo Bills. I suggested him. People in our comments suggested Derek White or the Lopez brothers as good matches. And Derek White and the Lopez brothers are that same, like, kind of goofy, really hot, awkward, like, athlete, but they're in the NBA.
Yeah.
Well, y'all, our software update for this week is we were on the right track, but we got the wrong guy because Cardi B is rumored to be dating wide receiver for the Houston Texans, Stephon Marshawn Diggs. So, Alise, already with the pictures, what are you thinking?
I mean, he's very handsome.
Yeah, he's a cutie pie.
He's a major cutie pie.
He's a cutie pie.
So it's giving cutie pie, especially in the picture where he's kind of smiling in this second
Yeah.
one. I think he looks really cute.
Yeah.
I hope that, because I feel like part of what we were going for is I do think she deserves someone who's like fun and a little goofy and silly because she's fun, or at least someone who can like appreciate that in her.
Well, we'll
So
see.
that's my hope. I know nothing about this man other than that I'm looking at a picture of him and he's really cute.
So they were spotted together in the same New York City nightclub last week, and they were spotted together multiple times this week around the Super Bowl. Cardi had Cardi Gras, which is her Cardi B Super Bowl party, and they were spotted together there. Back in October 2024, I don't know if you remember when there was rumors that Cardi B had cheated on Offset while she was pregnant.
Oh, yes. Yeah. I was like, which rumors that Cardi B cheated on Offset? Because there's a lot.
While she was pregnant or whatever. Who knows?
Cheating, everyone's, yeah. But yes, I remember the pregnant ones.
But back in October 2024, rumors swirled around when DJ Academics, again, like, we talked about him and put a pin in our Discourse. We're going to put a pin again in DJ Academics because he has been kicked off Twitch very recently for crazy shit that he said to children. Anyway, DJ Academics alleged that Cardi B had been texting Diggs while pregnant with Offset's child. So we don't know like how long this has been going on, but it is a rumor that has been whatever. Naturally, Offset can't keep quiet about it. So I'm going to have Alise read Offset's tweets about supposedly, allegedly, they're now deleted, but people are speculating that these tweets are related to the news that she is rumored to be dating Stephon Diggs. So, Cardi, Alise, read the first tweet. First two tweets.
Okay, so the first tweet says, "Had you last week," by the way, which I guess is him trying to be like, we had sex last week, like I already, which is that weird male thing of like, if I've had sex with you, then you're ruined. And it's like, doesn't that say more about you and your gross dick?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
Anyway, and then the second one is my new bitch batter.
And
Which
what can you surmise from that?
what I can surmise from that is that he is alleging that he has a new bitch and she is badder than Cardi B. But to that, I would say I doubt it because
Yeah.
Cardi B is the badness level on Cardi B is incredibly high.
Yes.
What's that like Dragon Ball Z meme that's like it's over 10,000 like the guy screaming like I think that like Cardi B's badness level is really 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 high. So if there was someone badder than Cardi B, I think she would be like known to us in the world.
Yeah, like literally like a Beyonce. Cause bad
Yeah.
bitch means like a lot, but yeah. Finally, I'm gonna have you kind of describe this picture that Cardi B posted and then share with us what Offset's reply is.
Okay, so Cardi shared a photo. It's of her in a little cute outfit. We've got like Argyle going on. It's like an anime shirt.
Mm-hmm.
And then I feel like she has like anime inspired hair as
Mm-hmm.
well. And it says, my new. Is this supposed to mean bitch? Because it's B with the beach.
Yeah, probably, yeah.
Okay.
My new
Okay.
bitch.
My new bitch looking like a trophy walking. So I think she's just saying that lyric about herself because she looks good and she's wearing this kind of like cute little outfit. That's my guess.
And Offset's reply.
Emoji of a trash can. I mean, Offset is definitely, I think, a can. Even though I don't. Has he been Grasshole?
I don't know if he's officially been Grasshole. That's a great, yeah. That this is candidate for Grasshole behavior because he's trying to say that like the outfit's trash or she looks like trash or like it's garbage.
I think that Offset is gunning for the Grasshole pantheon of Elon Musk, J.K. Rowling, 50 Cent, people who just kind of live in a perpetual state of grassholery.
Mm-hmm.
Because he really does need to log off and stop responding to these things.
His ex-wife,
His
like outfit
ex-wife's
pictures.
outfits or like and tweeting cryptic things. It's very much giving like sad away message when you were a teenager, like like putting up just like a sad lyric or whatever. It's like I think that you need to step away. I think that he could perhaps even block Cardi B. That might actually be healthy for him to
Yeah,
block. Sometimes that's what we have to do. And it doesn't make you less of a man, Offset, if you have to block your really hot ex wife
that
because
you cheated on
that
multiple
you
times.
cheated on, then actually it is your kind of your fault the relationship is this bad. But either way, regardless, maybe for yourself, we block. There are apps that could help you with your screen time.
There are apps that could help you, Offset.
Offset, there are apps that can.
So yeah, that's our software update. I just
Wow.
wanted to keep the people updated. We did watch Emilia Press. It was interesting slash good slash okay. And Offset is going crazy, and Cardi B is rumored to. We predicted it. You called it. You said Kamala was gonna go and call her daddy, and
Mhm.
I said Cardi B needs to date an NFL player.
And it happens, and
It
or
happened.
it is allegedly happening. And I want everyone to keep in mind, still outstanding prediction from Millie that Ariana and Ethan Slater get engaged during the next Wicked press tour.
People are saying that the relationship's on the last leg, so we gotta watch this space.
We have to watch this space, but just remember that
Now, I said that.
Millie put that prediction out there, and that one is still pending.
Okay.
Still pending. Okay. It's time for our discourse, and I'm quite excited. This is something that people have been coming to us in the DMs, in the Discord. They're saying, are we talking about this topic? Of course, we're talking about this
There's
topic.
no way we're not gonna talk about this today.
There's no way we're not going to talk about an American woman in Pakistan. This woman has taken over my feed for at least the last week. Millie,
You
are you
know,
seeing, she's in your
Chris
feed.
Burns, me and Chris Burns have been sending each other so many things that's been taking over. She has taught me so much about the art of negotiation.
Yeah. She's an inspiring figure.
She's an inspiring figure.
She's an inspiring figure as far as standing your ground, speaking your truth,
Taking risks,
taking risks for sure,
doubling down,
knowing your worth.
knowing your worth.
There's much to unpack here. So, for those who don't know, there is an American woman, we're going to get more into her and how she came to be, who has been in Pakistan for a couple months now, and she is refusing to leave for various reasons, though she may have left.
Yeah, I think she left.
But let's start with who this woman is.
Mm-hmm.
Onijah Andrew Robinson is a 32-year-old American woman who arrived in Karachi, Pakistan in October in order to marry, wait for it, a 19-year-old she met online. His name is Nidal Ahed Memon. So right off the bat, 19 is tough.
19 is tough. 32, not unheard of, not illegal, just tough.
Just tough. You know what? I think 19 and 32 is maybe the exact same age gap that Charles and Diana had when they got engaged.
Oh.
Which, didn't work out.
Yeah. There's a lot of hurdles coming your way.
A lot of hurdles. This story isn't going to go in that direction, but I'm just going to say, historically, the 19 to 32 age gap is a tough one. It's a tough one to overcome, regardless of if man or woman or man, we can switch the genders.
Man or woman, man, you're talking to Emilia Pérez.
Man to woman, to man. Okay, fantastic, great. I've been Perez pilled.
What if that meant you just loved Perez Hilton in 2025?
That would be worse, honestly.
That would be worse.
Than me die hard defending Emilia Perez. Worse would be for me to be like, I actually think Perez Hilton is really good.
Yeah.
Yeah, for me, I'm just like, when I meet a 19-year-old, I really treat them like a child, personally.
Talking to some men in their 30s makes me like want to lobotomy. So talking to a 19-year-old, I mean, it's not for me, but whatever. I mean, go on, girl. Like,
and she did.
Because you know what they say. This is like, I tease my friends with this. I like make a joke every time there's like a small age gap or something. I'm like, you know what they say? If you can't find a good man, you need to raise one. And I put up my hand to get a high five, and everyone's like, stop.
And and the high five never comes.
The high five never comes. But my friends like hate me for that. Yeah.
Now that we have those details, we do have important racial context, as we often do. So Onijah is a Black woman, but she was reportedly catfishing the 19-year-old using a filter that made her look like a blonde white woman. For me, I gotta see this filter.
Okay, so this is what I heard.
Okay.
I heard that the filter was making her look like Nicki Minaj in a blonde wig. Like, you remember, like, Super Bass era Nicki Minaj with that's the filter, so allegedly. So at the end of the day, someone with fairer skin and blonde hair, but I don't know if it was white woman or whatever, but yeah, that was a Nicki Minaj filter, allegedly.
We do not have any imagery of like what this filter looks like. I will say that one of my main sources of information is there's a Pakistani TikToker by the name of Bilal Hassan, who has been following this and kind of like translating it for Americans, because this has been like a bigger story in Pakistan before it made it to the US. So he's been kind of following it along, and he said that the filter was a white woman.
Black creators say that it was a Nicki Minaj.
Yeah. So also, I don't know, this kid's 19. Maybe he's confused about.
Yeah. Either way, this kid's kind of an idiot. I think the Onijah Onika, because Onika, that's Nicki Minaj's real name. There's like that connection, but.
Yeah, so anyway, TBD on what the filter looked like. I would love to see the filter. I would love to get eyes on this
Yeah.
filter, because if it is supposed to make her look straight up like a white woman, it's gotta be
That's crazy.
that's crazy. And also, it's like, it's gotta be the most weird AI M3gan looking crazy face. And I'm like, you think this is a real woman? Like,
Who's into yeah.
again, shout out to Bilal Hassan for a lot of this info. If you want to go and get some like deeper analysis from like a Pakistani person, his page is really great. According to Bilal, they met and actually did get married online with an online nikah, which is like an Islamic marriage ceremony. I don't know to what degree Muslim people recognize the online nikah. Like, I don't know if that's how valid that is, but they are available online, and I guess they did get this online thing done. So, like, not legally married, but depending on who you ask, maybe married in the eyes of Islam, I guess?
Allah.
Allah. Married in the eyes of Allah, married in the eyes of the church, potentially. Again, I don't really know how an online version of this thing is like received by the Muslim community at large. So they get online married to some degree. He at least thinks she's blonde.
Yeah.
You know that? He thinks he's
We think she's blonde and that his image of her is not who she really is. Yeah.
So he's under the impression he's married this blonde American woman. He gives her his address and he says, "Baby, come to Karachi." And she says, "Bet." She does go to Karachi. She flies there in October. Now, according to Bilal, again, this TikToker who I'm getting a lot of this information from, the area where the 19-year-old lives is not the nicest part of Karachi. He described it as not quite the hood, which does come into play a little bit later. But basically, he said that it's kind of not the best area of Karachi for like you, a random American tourist, to find yourself in. That's probably not where you would be going. So Onijah shows up at the 19-year-old's house and he's like, "Well, this isn't my blonde wife." but,
Yeah.
but apparently he's initially kind of cool with it, because at the end of the day, blonde, white, black, whatever, you can still confer a green card marriage onto your 19-year-old husband from Karachi. So I think he's kind of like, well, I guess I'm going to rock with it and go to America and get American citizenship.
Them's the breaks. Yeah.
Yeah, like I thought this was a blonde woman. She's not. I thought she looked like an AI fucking like Precious Moments doll. I guess that's not her, but we can make this work. The person who's not into this, as you can imagine, is the 19-year-old's mom, who
Yeah.
who is not happy, probably for some racist reasons, and then also for like legitimate mom reasons. Like, I think both are coming into play here.
Yeah.
Bilal talks a little bit more about that on his TikTok, but he says that, there is a prize placed on whiteness in Pakistan, as
Of
we
course.
often see in colonized places. That mentality still exists. So for a random Black American woman to show up and be like, "I'm married to your son," she probably doesn't like that for a variety of reasons, some of which are valid and some of which might be racist. So,
I mean, again, at the end of the day, if I was a mother of a 19-year-old kid and a 32-year-old woman from a different country, and with those eyebrows
yeah.
says like, "Hey, I'm here to marry your son," I'd probably be like, "No," anyway.
Yeah.
So
Putting any racial prejudice aside, I do think it's reasonable for her to be like, "Who is this woman? Why are you saying you married my son online? What's going on?" And just because you mentioned the eyebrows, I do think it's important, if you haven't already looked up a visual of Onaja, she does have like very thin, drawn on, kind of intense, like old school eyebrows, like a
Like flapper.
U-shaped eyebrow that one doesn't normally see.
We'll put it on the visuals if you're watching on YouTube.
As always, I always post the day the episode comes out with like relevant photos and information. So Onaja will be there. Here I will say this, not for me to do, probably also not for Millie to do, but if you are perhaps a Black Muslim woman yourself, really good Halloween costume potential.
I feel like I could do it for Halloween.
I think you could. Listen, I'm not the one to make that decision.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
saying
yeah.
I definitely can't. I'm
Yes.
saying Millie potentially could. And there are other people for whom they definitely could. And I think there's Halloween costume potential there.
Okay.
You hold a microphone.
Yes.
There's a lot of fun. Anyway, that's just for any of our listeners who might fall into the proper demographic who are thinking ahead to Halloween. Anyway, so, okay. Kid's mom is like, absolutely fucking not. I don't know who this lady is. You're not married to this lady. And actually, we're leaving. So she takes her son. She locks up their apartment. They go. No one knows where they went to. I mean, I think they since have been found. But at first, it's like they just get the fuck out of there and they don't say shit.
Yeah.
So now, I'll check in with you. If you are Onaja in this moment, what would you do?
Would I talk to a 19-year-old online? Would I use a filter? Would I get married online? Would I go to Pakistan? Would I go to Pakistan, show up without talking? There's so many things I wouldn't do before getting to this moment. But once I'm in this moment, I would leave. I would take the L and leave or try to meet someone else.
There's that. I would say, okay, I'm in Karachi. What are the tourist areas? Maybe I make a day of it and then I go home and I just say I had fun in Pakistan. Maybe I don't know what the museum situation is like. I'm sure
there's some good museums.
I'm sure they got some shit to see. I do a little sightseeing and I leave. That is not what Onaja does. Onaja starts kind of just camping out in the parking lot of the apartment complex where this guy lives. Now, this is where the like hood adjacent element comes in, which is like, this is a smaller community of people who all know each other and are known to each other. She's not like in the middle of the big city. She's in a smaller area. People start saying, who is this woman?
Yeah. Yeah, that's an important thing of like, it's not a touristy area where it's like, or even if it's not a touristy area, it's not like a very affluent area where you're kind of used to seeing people from other countries there.
Yeah, exactly. Like a random American woman who's hanging out in the parking lot saying that she's married to your teenage neighbor. It's unusual.
Yeah.
And the people of the neighborhood start talking. They start saying, who is this woman? And she's like, I'm not leaving until I have my husband. So soon enough, Pakistani media starts to get wind of this situation and they start coming around to interview this strange woman. And thus, a viral sensation is born. So she starts doing all of these interviews in Pakistan. She's getting a lot of media attention. She also catches the eye of this philanthropist named Ramzan Chipa, who has really been out of the goodness of his heart trying to help this lady. Because she overstayed her visa and he actually got her a humanitarian visa that like lasted until the February 11th. So he's like helping her out of the goodness of his heart as far as I can tell. And so she starts getting more and more attention for her interview style, which is, I would describe as combative. And we're going to watch one of those interviews now.
Here, please come here. Come.
Please,
Be quiet. I'm not sitting down.
please have seat.
My plan is to reconstruct this whole country, okay? I'm asking for 100K or more. I need 20K by this week, okay? In my pockets. in cash. Okay? That's a demand to the government. The government is going to fix up these buildings, fix up the streets, and clean up these streets. It's ridiculous out here. I do not like it. Okay?
Right now.
Right now, I'm going to mind my fucking business. Thank you very much.
A star is born.
Either you have it or you don't.
And she has it. So I just want to go through, in that short video, she says she's going to reconstruct Pakistan.
But honestly, the hood area of Pakistan, which, to be fair, probably is underdeveloped.
She says, I'm going to reconstruct this whole area.
Because she don't like it.
She needs 100K. I feel like that's low.
Maybe the cost of materials in Pakistan is different. You can make a lot of for $100,000 in a different country. You could do a lot. You could get a whole building. You could do a lot. I see it for her.
She needs 100K overall, 20K in cash immediately that she needs in her pocket.
That's fair.
Right now.
Yeah.
To get these plans going. I do love being in a country where you have overstayed your visa and she's like, I don't like it. It's like, girl, everyone's trying to get you to go home.
I mean, in many ways, we'll tie this back to Grasshole. That's Elon Musk, baby. Someone who overstayed the visa and don't like it here.
I don't like it. Okay, well, there's an option available to you that's called going home. And a lot of people are kind of trying to help you do that.
Mm-hmm.
I do think, I mean, again, as we were talking about, the confidence of saying, I just arrived. I will fix everything. I have a budget. Give me money. Give me 20K or
more.
Or more.
Or more. That's what the manifestation. It's like, I want this or more.
And people did send her money. I don't know if she ended up with 20K, but and I don't know how that money got to her.
You're sending her money, you're putting it on fire. You know what I mean? You can't have any expectations, but
it's hawk to a coin at that point. If you're going to send money to this lady, to do whatever, you want to participate in a meme and you're putting your money behind it in that way.
And I would say you're getting more out of your money from her than hawk to a coin. I'll say that.
At least it's really going to her. Is she going to use it to rebuild this area of Pakistan? Probably not.
Maybe
but
not.
She might have a little fun with it. So now I also want to play, because that was just one of many interviews that she has done, because the Pakistani media, she became kind of a sensation. And then basically first she's a sensation there, and then the clips start making it to TikTok in the US. And that's when she starts becoming a big, big meme. So this is a TikTok that was made by @LouisVuitton that rounded up her top 10 moments. We're going to watch her top 10 moments.
What is this for?
They are calling your husband.
Where's my husband?
Husband is coming. My dear American
Listen,
sister.
I'm from Pakistan. Respect to the law.
Okay.
Respect for the law.
Okay.
Respect to Allah. And
Okay.
respect to God. Do you hear me? We're going to have our baby in Dubai.
Where are you from?
I'm from Pakistan.
You are not from Pakistan.
Yes, I am.
You born in Pakistan?
No, but I'm from here.
You-
I'm already married. We don't have kids yet.
Okay.
We married in Utah. Over the online. I'm not talking unless y'all giving me land and 2,000 or more every week. You hear me? This is my bodyguard. And he will be getting paid over 100K every 3 weeks.
Then why you are not in Pakistan? I told you, I'm not talking unless you have 5,000 a week from me in USD.
5,000. Why?
Because it's expensive to talk.
It's private. I'm Muslim and it's against my religion to tell y'all my business. Have a nice day.
Khadija, where have you been last 3 months and have you reached Ahmad?
Excuse me. I just said it's against my religion to tell you my business, okay? I'm fine. Thank you.
I love the ever-changing amount that she needs. She's like, I'm not talking unless you give me land and 2,000 a week.
That's fair.
Then it's 5,000 to talk at one point. And I also do love saying it's against my religion to
To tell my business.
tell y'all my business. That I might keep in my back pocket.
You know, Alise, if she was the manager of Go Touch Grass, we'd be making Joe Rogan money in a year.
I mean, that is so true. We're trying to get our shit, our
We're
Club
trying to-
Shay numbers, and I think she could do it.
I feel like if she repped us, we'd be fucking. But yeah, no, we'd be going off.
She does say she's paying her bodyguard
$100,000 every 2 weeks.
Every 2 weeks. So I'm getting concerned that some of the money that she says she's using to reconstruct Karachi is going to
her
this bodyguard. Because that's quite a salary. That's more than Eric Adams was paying his girlfriends.
Yes. Famously, Eric Adams' girlfriend was getting $221,000 a year.
Her bodyguard makes that in 2 weeks.
In 2 weeks. Well, maybe it's like a TV contract where it sounds like a lot, but you only really get 2 weeks of work. So
yeah. So he
that's
has to
like
make
the last
it
of all year. Yeah.
Yeah. But I bet he's living large on it. I also bet it's not real. Anyway,
it's against my religion to tell my business. Love that.
That has major legs as far as a saying that can exist for forever and forever. That lives for me in my heart as like the saying we've talked about a lot of Monique from Charm School. When you do clownery, the clown bites back.
Comes back to bite, yes.
The clown comes back to bite. I think it's against my religion to tell y'all my business can live in the pantheon of that.
And you know what? And let this be a lesson to anyone who's against diversity, equity, and inclusion. The greatest contributions of our country have come from Black women. I'll say that, and I'll say that again. We have clownery, we have it's against my religion, and of course, like Alise said in our Patreon episode, Azalea Banks said froggy eyelids and you smell like a roll of nickels.
Yeah. So, I mean, lyricism. Okay, so to answer a couple questions that might have come up, there is no evidence that she's actually pregnant, and it doesn't seem that she is pregnant, though she did say that they were going to go to Dubai to have their baby, and she kind of like held her belly in a pregnant fashion as she said that, but I don't think she's not pregnant.
Okay.
I don't know if they spent the requisite amount of alone time together for her to become pregnant.
Yeah, I don't think the mom's letting him.
Yeah, I don't know. That's unclear to me if they got any alone time before mom showed up and was like, who the fuck is this woman?
Yeah.
But anyway, as a result of all of this, people are going crazy online. Everybody's making like roundup TikToks talking about it. There are certain creators like Bilal that we talked about who are Pakistani, who are providing different context. There are people from the Desi community in general who are providing like their cultural context. Then there are a bunch of people who are just doing straight up impressions of her. Tons of impression videos. Literally just logged into Instagram and saw one before we started recording. Which, as you know, in any situation like this, it's not a backlash to the backlash, but it's like the hand wringing begins. Like, is it okay for us to make fun of the American woman in Pakistan? So, and here's another thing about a lot of this information is you hear a lot of different things. So this was either in a now deleted video or this was in an interview that no one seems to be able to find. But someone claiming to be Robinson's son allegedly confirmed that she suffers from bipolar disorder, that her family was trying to get her back to the United States, and that, she's not in her right mind, basically. So that's, potentially true, but also, as we've seen on this show, sometimes people come out and like say, I'm her son or whatever, and then they're like, it's a skit.
It's a skit, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, clearly this is not someone who's like mentally well, maybe. But
no. Like, it's not believable that she has a son and have family that's like, oh my God, Onaisha's in Pakistan. Fuck.
Yeah.
Hey, have you seen these viral videos of Onaisha? It seems like she's in Pakistan. But now the hand wringing begins from the online thought leaders. So one of the articles that I used to get some of this information was from The Cut. That article had a line that was, if you're reading all of this and thinking, sounds like this woman is not well and people should probably not be laughing at this. Well, I think you're right, but that has not stopped TikTok from going gaga over her. So that's The Cut's take. Then there's a Bloomberg headline. Those memes of an American woman in Pakistan, not funny. And then the quote from that article is, when properly crafted, memes are one of the high forms of modern humor. When steeped in cruelty, they're a reminder that they also need guardrails. There's a fine line between hopping on a harmless trend and exploitation. And in an era when images and sound bites can become untethered from whatever inspired them, creators and companies should prioritize meme literacy, and social media outlets should help provide more context.
Shut up. I'm just like, oh God. Like, okay, I'm laughing at her sound bites that are funny. It's just funny to say it's against my religion to share my business. Like, that's just a funny thing to say. I don't know. Like, I don't know.
If she was in some kind of danger,
Yeah.
it would be different. If she was doing some kind of harm,
Yeah.
it would be different. Do I think that the jokes about her or the fascination by her comes from the most pure place
No.
of goodness? No. But I don't know. Sometimes shit is funny. It's an anachronistic situation, which is what often creates humor.
Yeah.
It's a person you wouldn't expect to be in Pakistan speaking in a way that is not traditionally seen there. It's funny to see the way that the people who are trying to help her interact with her. Because I think one of the nice things about this story is people are being really nice to her in Pakistan.
And people are being really patient. They kind of can tell that there's something going on there. They're being really patient. They're taking her to McDonald's. They're helping her. They're translating. To me, as an outsider, it really just taught me a lot about Pakistan. Like, from the shit that the US, propaganda media machine says about Pakistan, to me, I would think that, it's so crazy there. It's getting bombed every week. Why would it, like, that's like the kind of shit that, like, they make you feel about this place. So then to have somebody there, not only like be a woman traveling there by herself and also have kind of like a mental episode and be still safe for the most part, being talked to about a media, having people check on her, them getting money together. And then later she has like a team of all women that are helping her get around. It's just like, yeah, like there's no immediate harm. She's saying funny one-liners, like we're all laughing. It's important and good to know, like, that she has family that's checking on her and ready and like waiting for her, but like we should prioritize meme literacy. It's like, God, shut the fuck up. You're owned by a billionaire who fucking sucks and wants to ban soda. Like, let's relax.
Yeah, I just think not everything is going to be perfectly morally good
Yeah.
at all times. If she was in danger, if she did not seem lucid, you know what I mean? Like if she seemed like she was on drugs or strung out or was being coerced in some way, it would be different. But as far as what I can see, I mean, obviously there's something going on there.
Yeah.
But as of right now, these are videos of an eccentric lady behaving in an eccentric way that
Yeah.
is funny, and she is physically safe, and it seems, as of this recording, has returned to the United States. The reason I say, like, I put a caveat on that is that I wasn't finding a ton of super legit sources saying it, but a lot of people are saying it. The best I could find was an AI generated video from The Independent that was like a computer voice being like, there is an American woman in Pakistan and everyone is talking about her. And at the end, it said, she is reportedly on her way back to the United States, though the details remain unclear.
Yeah, I thought that like the video of her in like the wheelchair or something I thought that was at the airport, like she's about to board the plane. That was my impression, but yeah, it just seems like Yeah, no one's getting harmed. She's doing like weird stuff, like, yeah, eccentric stuff. Like, that's not really, I mean, for the most part, it's like, oh my God, she's not even like that crazy. There's literally multiple seasons, 10 plus seasons of shit called 90 Day Fiance the other way, of people who meet someone online and go to their country and meet up with them. Is this something that Millie Tamaris would do? No, not necessarily, but that doesn't mean that that's not that kind of crazy of the behavior. Like, she's just a little eccentric and weird, and the people have like accepted her greatly. And I think like Bilal is one of those people that are like, this is what we've been trying to get out about Pakistan for the longest time, that we are a kind country that accepts people and all this stuff. And she's showing it in a way that no other influencer has been able to show.
I do think, as someone who, grew up in the post 9/11 environment of like
Yeah.
what I have been told about countries like Pakistan and stuff are, I've absorbed a lot of false and negative stuff.
I mean,
I think
Osama bin Laden was in Pakistan, but that's different.
that's different, whatever. But what I'm saying is, like, I've absorbed so much about how bad and intense it is over there, whatever, that I think prior to seeing this, I would have assumed that if a woman was acting that way, that she would be like arrested or something,
Yeah.
or that like harm would come to her.
Yeah.
But to see that it's just like people are just interviewing her and being like, "Why are you here? Are you going to leave?" And this guy actually stepped up to help her. And now it seems like she's going home. Hopefully, whatever episode led to her making the choice to do this is being addressed with her family at home. I don't think we need to continue to like follow this woman
No.
in any way. I think she's back home and that's the end of the story. But my eyes roll at this like high and mighty, like, you're laughing at someone who's not well. I'm like, because she's being funny. And
She is like legitimately being funny. She's saying funny things.
Yeah, she's not crying and scared and we're laughing at her because we think she's dumb or whatever. It's like she's
Yeah.
giving interviews where she's saying really funny stuff, like it's against my religion for y'all to be in my business.
Yeah.
Again, it's like people swing too far into the like, we should never make fun of anyone or for anything, and we should never say that anything is funny if it could possibly have a hint of darkness behind it. And it's like, that's just not how the world works, babe.
And I'm also just like, there's an argument to be made about, like, why people feel like one's political party is, more embracing and more like tolerant of mistakes and snafus over the other, Republican versus Democrat. And we'll get into that with Grasshole, but I'm just like, yeah, just fucking relax. Like, please, like, shut up.
There's a reason to scold everyone for everything. And there are genuinely times where the internet has harmed people who were in crisis and like been cruel to people who needed help. I don't think this is one of those times. It seems like she is home. It seems like she was fine during the time she was there.
Mhm.
And best of luck to her in her
Yeah.
future endeavors. And with that, I think it's time for us to move on to our next segment. Millie, take it away.
Our next segment is Grasshole of the Week. It is the segment where we pick a person, a group of people who need to go log off, need to go touch grass the most, more than anyone this week. And this week, the Grasshole goes to a group of men who are equally as stupid as they are powerful. I'm going to say, in writing this Grasshole, it was a journey with multiple layers and multiple nominations. And I ask for your patience, Alise, and the patience of our listeners while I take you along this wild ride.
Wow.
So our first 7 Grassholes,
Oh my
because
God.
I had to amend it, goes to Ethan Shotran, Akash Baba, Luke Forritter, Gautier Cole Killian, Edward Korstein, Gavin Kilger, and Marco Elise. If those names mean nothing to you, congratulations. you are offline. You are logged off. You have your foot on the ground. You know what's going on. But you should know these guys because
Yeah.
just weeks after Trump took office, a mega donor turned special government employee slash repeat Grasshole offender, Elon Musk, has penetrated deep into the heart of the federal administrative apparatus. He made this thing called DOGE, Department of Government Efficiency, which now enjoys access to communication channels and sensitive information at agencies, including the Treasury Department, the Office of Personnel Management, and the U.S. Agency for International Development, USAID, the last of which Musk has vowed to eliminate entirely. The spending freezes and staff purges at these agencies are being carried out by not Musk, but Musk loyalists, most of whom appear to be young male software engineers lacking in government experience between the ages of 19 to 25.
And what have we learned about 19-year-olds? That they'll marry a filter online. Like, this is the level of brain power that a 19-year-old man is bringing to the table.
I'll say that these guys, the 7 guys that we're talking about, we're going to talk about their backgrounds. And you'll decide, are they smart? Should they be allowed in government? What's happened is Elon Musk is an unelected government official. They put him through this digital thing so he wouldn't have to do security clearance. And now he sent his little task force, which are people who have not security clearance, but like they skirt around their shit to carry out Musk marching orders, which is basically like cut as much shit as you can from government. Even people who are like non-party affiliated government officials, because we're trying to quote unquote cut waste, but really they're trying to cut waste so they can justify their $4 trillion tax cut. That's like what's behind all of that. They want to make government as small as possible so that they can justify a higher tax cut for billionaires and millionaires, right?
Yeah.
That's kind of what's going on. But what happened is Musk and the interim U.S. attorney for the District of Columbia, Ed Martin, a MAGA guy, they say like you're doxing these guys, these 7 guys, like we're not supposed to know their names. Like that's a violation of their personal information that we know anything about them, because a lot of people obviously are reporting about these guys and they want to go after the journalists that publicize their names. And people are saying, well, are they government employees? Are they public officials? Or are they private citizens? Because if you're doing government shit, people are going to know your fucking name. And if you're doing private stuff, then yeah, people shouldn't know your business. But in the effort of this podcast, we're going to know them because these guys have our social security information, are cutting programs that affect us, have so much fucking power, already are making waves. And it's weaponizing this language, doxing, which is usually used when someone harasses someone online and publicizes private information like their address, their social security number, their phone number, email. This is not that. We are sharing information that is available to the public.
And here's what I'll say as someone who grew up in the DC area. Traditionally, when you go into a government building, you have to tell people who you are. They're pretty strict about that. You go in, you usually have to show an ID. Sometimes they'll even make you walk through a metal detector. You have to tell people who you are when you're going into places like the United States Treasury Department.
Yeah.
It's a frightening line of thinking that these people actually believe that we should have faceless, anonymous 20-year-old dudes who are allowed to just enter government buildings, take hard drives, install stuff, do whatever, and you're not allowed to ask who they are. You can't
look into their
name.
shit. Yeah.
You can't say, who is that guy? That is not how anything works.
They want to run government like a tech firm or a tech company. And the thing is, government is not tech. Government, for some flaws, may move slower because they have all these things to consider. But like in tech, yeah, you have a new founder, everyone gets fired, you bring in a new batch of people, whatever, but that is not how this works. So we're going to go one by one, probably in order from least egregious to most egregious on these guys. And I'm just going to check in with you and see, do you think these guys should be in government?
Okay.
So first we have Ethan Shotran. Shotran penned an essay for Business Insider last summer where he detailed how he, quote, balances his startup with his full-time studies. He is the founder of Energize AI, a scheduling assistant for professionals that was awarded a $100,000 grant from OpenAI in 2023. He said last year that he was a senior at Harvard University. Prior to that, he graduated high school in 2020 from Gunn High School in Palo Alto, California. His online profile says he was working, quote, on autonomous vehicles in Harvard University's Edge Computing Lab, perhaps where he caught the eye of Musk, who's obsessed with developing self-driving vehicles at Tesla. So, again, very smart kid, does not need to be in government.
No, yeah, I'm not seeing why he should have my personal tax information.
Nope.
It seems like he's a smart kid. God bless him on the cars. God, I hope he develops a good car that can drive itself, whatever. Congrats on the $100,000. If he wants to send it to that lady in Pakistan, that is what she said she needed. I don't know what he wants to do with that. But yeah, I'm not seeing like a dedication to public service, a dedication to
And he's 22 years old.
I mean, he seems like a promising young man. That doesn't mean that he should be able to carte blanche walk into any government building and shut it down or whatever the fuck they're doing.
Yeah, so the next person is Akash Boba. In his since deleted LinkedIn, he was an investment engineering intern at Bridgewater Associates Hedge Fund with previous internships at both Meta and Palantir, which was founded by Republican mega donor Peter Thiel.
Yeah.
An ex-user posted in his defense on Monday, basically saying that Akash is one of the smartest dudes I've ever met, and he's come a long way in a short time. In 2019, Akash was organizing the local Model United Nations near his home in Princeton Junction, New Jersey.
Oh.
And his father is a computing science academic. Akash graduated West Windsor Plainsboro High School, a public high school, in 2021, and he spoke at commencement and submitted his remarks to be highlighted. Back then, he urged his classmates to, quote, appreciate the complexity in life. This is a quote from the speech. We live in an age where simplicity reigns supreme, where 30-second TikToks and 280 characters tweets come to define our identities. This increasing willingness to simplify even the most complex narrative into sensational tidbits perpetuates misinformation and in the process divides the communities, families, and relationships we cherish. What's the solution, you might ask? Seek discomfort.
I guess I would love if he took what he wrote here and applied it to important government functions, like maybe reducing everything to its most simplistic form is not actually how you run a government agency that is in charge of a lot of different people. Maybe he should embrace complexity in how the US government distributes funding to its various agencies.
22, and he is in charge of the Office of Personnel Management now.
He's in charge?
Or he's like one of the people that are firing.
Has he ever managed personnel?
Well, I just read he gave a commencement speech at his 2021 high school graduation, Elise. This is one of the harmless ones, right? Next we have Luke Fart. Luke, meanwhile, this might be interesting to you, Elise. Farter, meanwhile, was a co-winner of a $700,000 prize last year after he used AI to partially decipher a 2,000-year-old charred papyrus scroll from Pompeii, part of the Vesuvius scrolls that had stumped scientists for centuries.
Okay.
Farter interned for Musk's SpaceX prior to winning the challenge. He told Free Press he dropped out of college to begin working for the Silicon Valley entrepreneur Nat Friedman, the former CEO of GitHub and Xamarin. His dad, Shane Ferreter, is a mechanical engineering professor who joined the University of Nebraska in 1998. So again, smart kid. Does he need to be in government? No.
I mean, maybe he could work at the National Archives with his AI thing with the papyrus. I'm impressed by the papyrus.
But that's not what he's doing.
No, that's not what he's doing, but I'm saying, like, why have we pivoted from papyrus deciphering? You cooked with that. You did great. You did great with the papyrus. So why are we doing this now? Why are you in charge of me now? You should be in charge of papyrus.
So next we have Gautier Killian. So the other guys are like using DOGE to get into like government stuff, and they have government emails and all this stuff. Killian, meanwhile, has an email directly with DOGE and is reportedly a quote volunteer. So he's not even on like the payroll. I think he's just a volunteer.
He was just doging for the love of the game.
And the website reported that he graduated high school in 2019 and more recently worked as an engineer at Jump Trading, which specializes in algorithmic and high-frequency financial trades.
Okay.
Let's get on to our two most problematic guys. Or no, three. Sorry. Oof.
Okay. Because the first three guys, it's like, again, I don't want any of them in charge of anything. I am intrinsically wary of 22-year-old tech bros in
19-year-old,
general.
22, yeah.
Yeah, 19 to 22-year-old tech bros in general. I wonder about like the social intelligence that we would be dealing with. Seems like they're clearly very smart, but I wonder, like, I would love to see like what their Hinge messages look like. Like what?
Well, Elise, you're talking about social message, like social maturity, social things, which is again like kind of an argument against just pure STEM education, is that there's a lot of like moral quandaries that come up that aren't really discussed when you just focus on science and math.
Yeah.
Which leads us perfectly to the profile of Edward Kornstein.
Oh,
who I think is, okay, Kornstein's the group lone teenager. He's actually 19. And he has a resume that includes a summer internship at Neuralink, Musk brain computer interface company that allegedly has killed dozens of monkeys. Over 24 monkeys have died in Neuralink. Anyway, online sleuths unearthed that Kornstein's dad appears to be Charles Kornstein, the businessman who purchased once failing snack company Lesser Evil in 2011 and has turned it around to reportedly rake in over $100 million a year. Have you ever seen the popcorn that has like a Buddha sleeping on it? That's his dad's company. And people have been boycotting that brand since they found out that his son is using ARC information. So again, 19, and he is listed in Office of Personnel and Management records, quote, as an expert. So the scope of his work within DOGE is particularly vague. Sources told Wired that Kornstein, quote, has appeared on calls where workers were made to go over code they had written to justify their jobs. So he's like, he is part of the decision making that determines who's able to keep their job or not.
And he's only worked for a company that just kills monkeys, that injects chips into the brains of monkeys and kills them?
No, Elise, that is not his only job, because he was fired from an internship after he was accused of sharing information with a competitor. Edward has been terminated for leaking internal information to the competitors, said a June 2022 message from an executive of the firm Path Network, which was seen by Bloomberg News. Quote, "This is unacceptable and there is zero tolerance for this." A spokesperson for the Arizona-based hosting and data security firm said Thursday, "I can confirm that Edward Kornstein's brief contract was terminated after the conclusion of an internal investigation into the leaking of proprietary company information that coincided with his tenure." Afterwards, Kornstein wrote that he retained access to the cybersecurity company's computers, though he said he hadn't taken advantage of it. Quote, I had access to every single machine, he wrote on Discord in late 2022, weeks after he was dismissed from Path Network, according to messages seen by Bloomberg. Posting under the name Ravage, which 6 people who have known him said it was his alias, Korenstein said he could have wiped Path customers supporting servers if he wished. He added, quote, I never exploited it because it's just not me. His comments made in the Discord server focused on another competitor company, worried executives at Path Network, who believed there was no legitimate reason for a former employee to access their machines, according to a person familiar with the incident. In response to his firing, Korenstein, who is wearing a blazer and shorts in one undated photo,
I'm sorry. That's such an important detail. Quarantine, who's wearing a blazer and shorts.
In an undated folder, said, quote, he had done nothing contractually wrong. Several of Korenstein's online peers and former coworkers said they were surprised that the teenage they knew had been brought on into one of the most high-profile teams in the Trump administration. His 2022 dismissal and the circumstances surrounding it had questions about how he arrived in this new job with Musk's Department of Government Efficiency and how he'll handle the sensitive government information that comes with it.
I mean, yeah, the fact that, okay, so this kid, to amend my previous statement, this kid has had 2 jobs. One of them was killing monkeys for science.
Allegedly, dozens of monkeys.
Allegedly killing dozens of monkeys for some scientific purpose, whatever. The second one, he was fired for specifically mishandling sensitive information, and now he's in charge of average Americans' most sensitive information. And the thing that disturbs me about this more, with like the way he's talking in Discord, is it seems like he has a troll mentality. Like this idea of like, well, it's not technically illegal. Like, I can do whatever I want, high on power, not thinking very well. Like, why are you saying this when you can get fired for it? Why are you saying it under your, everyone knows your Ravage or whatever. So like, why
are Ravage?
I know. I thought that immediately.
George Santos's drag.
George Santos's drag was Katara Ravage. So
Ravage.
I'm like, if everyone knows you're Ravage, why are you talking about your company this way? I mean, it just shows what you would know a 19-year-old to be. A little bit dumb, cocky, high on his own supply. And then especially if you're like a 19-year-old tech kid, there's this troll mentality that I really don't want in charge of the government.
That's what, Senator Ron Wyden, an Oregon Democrat, basically said, quote, giving Elon Musk goon squad access to systems that control payments to Social Security, Medicare, Medicaid, and other key federal programs is a national security nightmare. Every hour, new disturbing details emerge that prove that these guys have no business anywhere close to sensitive information or critical networks. So we got 2 more of these guys. And again, we said this is increasing in disturbingness.
I can't believe it.
Next we have Gavin Kilgers, who's 25, and his LinkedIn lists his employer at the U.S. Office of Personnel Management, where he is, quote, special advisor to the director. His old jobs include a brief stint as an engineer at Twitter in 2019, and most recently as a software engineer at Databricks, a cloud software company, for 5 years, which he claims given him a 7-figure salary. Okay. Kilger is already making a name for himself in his new role. He was named Monday by the New York Times as the person who blasted out a staff-wide email to USAID workers that ordered them to work from home as the agency is scrutinized by DOGE and the Trump administration. He sent an email to all of the USAID saying, you got to work from home. And people are like, why is this 25-year-old kid
who I've never heard of
emailing us that has no government thing? But what Kilger really wants the world to know about is his belief in male MAGA warriors Matt Gaetz and Peter Hegseth's brilliance, using his Substack post about them both. Gaetz, who was investigated like we did in our Patreon thing over allegations of teen sex trafficking, was, according to Kilger, a victim of, quote, the deep state. Hegseth, a serially unfaithful former Fox News star accused of sexual assault, drunkenness, and receiving lap dances while in uniform, was, quote, the warrior Washington doesn't want but desperately needs. So he made an entry on his Substack about his experience for his $12 a month subscribers only. I have to say, Alise, me and you don't even charge $12 a month for our fucking.
No, you can get all of our Patreon backlog for 10.
For 10. For 10, and he's charging 12.
And we're not destroying the world. We're not foot soldiers of a coup that's taking place before our very eyes.
And it's important to know, so he's, again, pro Hexeth, pro Gates, and in social media posts between October 2024 and January 2025, Kilger has voiced controversial views and reposted content from white supremacist and fellow Cuban Nick Fuentes and self-described misogynist Andrew Tate. Alise, how are we feeling about Gavin Kilger?
I mean, I'm very disturbed by Gavin Kilger. He's definitely the worst so far, as you promised. It's really also bad to have someone who truly believes in like the deep state, who's now trolling around in government computers and sensitive information, looking for Lord knows what to confirm his priors about Lord knows who. Like, that's just really, really not good. And it's also funny because the deep state that he fears is this shit that he's doing. Unelected, faceless weirdos who can go in and look at your information and delete entire agencies and tell everybody to stay home. Like, you're the deep state, buddy. It's you.
You're the deep state. Well, let's get to our final, which again is the most disturbing. We have Marco Alise. He's a 25-year-old software engineer and government employee. He came after public scrutiny after being granted administrator-level access to critical U.S. Treasury payment systems. He had no experience in government or finance. Alise graduated from Rutgers University in 2021, where he studied software development and distributed systems. After graduating, Alise worked at SpaceX, where he was involved in vehicle telemetry, Starship software, and satellite systems. He later joined X, formerly known as Twitter, focusing on search AI and software development. His work prior to DOGE was exclusively within Elon Musk's companies. Alise was appointed to Elon Musk, DOGE, and again, subsequently given administrator access to Payment Automation Manager and Secure Payment System at the Bureau of Fiscal Services. His privileges allowed him to modify critical financial infrastructure despite concerns from Treasury officials and lawmakers. In early 2025, Alise visited a Treasury facility in Kansas City, meeting with BFS staff and gaining deeper insight into federal payment processing system. His access to treasuries was restricted on February 5th. Treasury officials and three major federal employee unions have challenged the legality of Alise's access, filing a lawsuit against the Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent for allegedly violating federal laws by granting DOGE unrestricted control over financial data. This is not what the most controversial thing is about him. February 5th, he was restricted. February 6th, he resigned from DOGE after being linked to deleted social media account containing racist content. The account had also posted in support of eugenics. The tweets made by the account under the handle No Pitter included statements such as, quote, I would not mind at all if Gaza and Israel were both wiped off the face of the earth.
Oh, that's an opinion I haven't seen.
So June 2024, he said, I wouldn't mind if Gaza and Israel were both wiped off the face of the earth.
Okay.
In July 2024, he said, quote, just for the record, I was racist before it was cool. In September 2024, shortly before the account's deletion, it posted, quote, you could not pay me to marry outside my ethnicity. And then another quote, normalize Indian hate.
Okay.
After the Journal inquired about this account, White House spokesperson Caroline Leavitt said Elise had resigned from this role. Elise, quick thoughts before I continue with this story?
I mean, obviously a horrifying person. It is funny that he actually did get fucking fired, because that is one of the things, again, about hiring a bunch of 22-year-old dudes, is that none of them have gone through their Twitter accounts, and they've been tweeting their entire lives, all of their horrible thoughts.
Well, Elise, on Friday morning, Musk posted a poll to X asking his followers if DOGE should rehire the quote staffer. The answer from 78% of more than the 385,000 users who cast vote in the poll was a resounding yes. And then Vice President J.D. Vance tweeted this. Here's my view. I obviously disagree with some of Elise's posts, but I don't think stupid social media activity should ruin a kid's life. We shouldn't reward journalists who try to destroy people ever. So I say bring him back. If he's a bad dude or a terrible member of the team, fire him for that.
So he is a bad dude, number one, because of the stuff that he tweeted.
No, but not through JD Vance.
Also, important to note, he tweeted normalize Indian hate or whatever.
Yes, so later, everything, you are just so perfect in like everything I'm leading to, because later Vance defended his view in a bitter exchange with Rep. Ro Khanna, a Democrat from California who is Indian American, over one of the posts from an account linked to Elise. Quote, this is from Ro Khanna. Are you going to tell him to apologize for saying, quote, normalize Indian hate before his rehire? Just asking for the sake of both of our kids. Vance, whose wife is also Indian American, shot back that Khanna should grow up.
That's just so crazy. Your wife is Indian. Your kids are Indian.
Quote, righteous trolls on the internet, while offensive, don't threaten my kids. You know what does? A culture that denies grace to people who make mistakes. A culture that encourages congressmen to act like whiny children, Vance wrote. Vance added in another post, quote, you disgust me. So let's give Vance Grasshole of the Week too.
Yeah, absolutely. And I also, okay, there are a couple things that I want to say. Something that you have said recently in either an episode or on the Patreon.
On the Patreon about Saquon Barkley's racist wife. I know where you're going with this.
Okay, yes. That, like, we should give grace to people over past things that they posted when they were a kid. Obviously, depending on what the post was and da-da-da-da-da. But they do have to apologize first. They have to say, that was wrong. This kid is 25. He's not that far out from these posts having been part of his life. Like, it's also not one of those things where you're digging up something from, 2 decades ago or whatever. This person needs to have demonstrated change in their thought process, and it does not seem that they have. And number two, the other thing that I wanted to say is that Vance has this thing that says we shouldn't reward journalists who try to destroy people ever. A journalist reporting information about someone who works at the United States Treasury Department and has access to critical information is not them trying to destroy people. That is what journalism is. They looked into his background and reported what his background was. If someone was making something up, if they were bringing up stuff that wasn't relevant, that would be different. But this is a person who now has access to really, really, really critical systems, who is showing at best that they have terrible judgment.
Yeah.
And at worst, that they have hate towards large groups of people whose financial data he now has.
He has.
Like,
exactly.
How could an Indian person feel comfortable with someone who said normalize Indian hate having their social security number? How could anyone from Israel or Gaza feel fucking safe with this guy who said, I want them both wiped off the planet?
And who's in charge of paying the USAID Like
Right.
the USAID, like money. Exactly. And, Vance's comments too are just showing, like, first of all, he doesn't view his kids as Indian. And also, like, he can't because he's white, he can't understand the position of somebody who's from a marginalized, like, he can't and doesn't want to, has no curiosity of, like, what is it like to have someone in power say things about your race that just because, like, normalize hating Indians. Why? For what? Because of what? And it's like, you know what I mean? And it's all this thing of, like, infantilizing adults.
Yeah.
But these are the same people that say crazy shit about Trayvon Martin and, like, young black boys who are 14, 15, 16. They should be tried as adults. And again, it's one thing if they were tweets from 10 years ago. These tweets are from June.
Yeah,
These tweets are from June.
exactly. And, like, for him to be like, if he's a bad guy, fire him. It's like, no, but that's what the tweets show, is that
Yeah.
he's a bad guy.
But they don't view it as bad. That's the crazy thing, is that they don't view behavior as bad. So just to wrap this up, they asked Trump about this, and Trump said, quote, "I don't know about the particular thing," Trump said during a press conference at the White House with Japanese Prime Minister Shigeru Ishiba. But if the vice president said that, quote, "Did you say that?" He turns to JD Vance and he says, "Well, I'm with the vice president." That's what Trump has to say. So the guy, Mark Elise, is getting his job back.
Oh my God. I mean, of course he is. Like, these people are idiots and they're disgusting. And it is also, not to beat this drum all the time, it's not good that this is happening. It is abnormal for unelected random people to be going into government agencies, taking things over, making decisions. What we are seeing is not normal, not good. Fascism watch. On
Fascism
high.
watch. Fascism by literal 19-year-old. I'm going to say they're idiots in some regard. You're selling private information, or you're giving proprietary information to competitors. You're saying Matt Gaetz was a victim of deep state because he paid underage sex workers to do coke and molly with him while he had sex with them. You're saying that you couldn't pay you to be with someone of a different ethnicity. Like, no one cares. Normalize Indian hate. Like, you're an idiot.
Yeah.
You're an idiot. And I'm sorry if you are 19 or 20 and you've worked in AI and someone's like, you should work for government, and you take that fucking job. I'm sorry, you're a fucking idiot. Go outside and get some real world experience.
Yes.
Work somewhere in nonprofit for 1 year before you come in and you're just trying to shake things up and quote unquote disrupt.
Well, yeah, because that's the whole. I think there's like a famous quote that was either said by Mark Zuckerberg, and then there's a book about Facebook. It's called "Move Fast and Break Things," and
Exactly.
that's like the tech ethos. That's fine if you're creating a fucking app that's gonna tell you about your nighttime erection data or whatever the fuck. Shout out Brian Johnson. But it's not cool when the thing that you're breaking is people's financial health, when it's the actual government of the United States, when it's actually aid going to other countries, when it's like critical infrastructure for the government of one of the largest countries in the world to function. That is not move fast and break things. There's a reason why it's move slow and try not to break anything is actually the way this should work.
Yeah. And again, Medicare, Medicaid, that is for, people above 65 to pay for their fucking prescriptions.
Yeah.
People above 65 paying for prescriptions is fucking in the hands of a kid who used AI to decode papyrus from Pompeii.
And got a $700,000 grant for it. Like, these are people who don't understand what these government programs mean to the people who need them. Also,
No,
these are
all rich kids, like, who have, their parents are scientists. And I'm not saying some people have rich or upper middle class, but, like, your parents being scientists and you being on food stamps, like, that's a different reality. And these guys have probably never even interacted with someone who's been on food stamps, and now they are going to cut and eliminate and whatever. It's just like crazy. So grassholes to those 6 fucking guys.
Yeah.
And fuck you. I know your name and I know how old you are and I know a high school and so does everyone else. You
Yeah.
fucking loser. Grasshole to Elon Musk, who doesn't even know somebody. There's a tweet that I didn't even share, but somebody was like, if I was a billionaire, and like if I was one of the richest people in the world, I wouldn't be cutting cancer research. And Elon Musk replies and he's like, I'm not doing that. And literally there's an article that links to DOGE cutting cancer research. And because he doesn't even know what's happening. He hired these kids. Like, it's just like his video game shit. He's hiring people to do the work for him and he doesn't even know what the fuck is going on.
No.
And he's an idiot. He just says, cut everything and make it run faster, move faster and break things. You don't even know what the fuck you're doing. So fuck Elon Musk and fuck JD Vance. Yet again.
Fuck JD Vance. Fuck
Grasshole for you.
Fuck JD Vance like he's that couch, even though he didn't actually fuck that couch, as
He
we
didn't fuck the
learned.
couch.
He did, that was a rumor. But anyway, fuck JD Vance like he's that fucking couch.
Yes. So that's our grasshole.
Oh,
We did it. I told you it was
so
a
sad. It's
I told you
so
it was a-
bad.
Well, I was like, let me just, I literally was like, let me just look up these guys. And then I looked up the guy and then I found out the scandal of, I was just going to look him up and be like, you don't want your information to be public? I'm going to fucking say it because fuck you. Then I looked up one of the scandals. I'm like, oh my God, these guys are crazy.
This is maybe the most vital Go Touch Grass we've ever put out because we actually do need these young men. If they're going to be in charge, we do need them to go out, meet people, start having social interactions, start building the empathy that comes from meeting new and different people out in the world. Like, it is actually vital that they touch grass as much and as soon as possible.
Yeah, like vital touching grass. Like, go work in a soup kitchen for a week. Go give out
Please.
meals to people. Go fucking connect with a community or something before you just, these guys are just in this like siphon thing where they're not in touch with
I know.
anybody who's even who hasn't worked in tech.
Like,
They're
ride
working
the
in tech.
bus.
They
Go,
ride-
please,
ride
for
the
the
bus.
love of God, ride. Just go on one bus route. Just ride it. Headphones out. Just listen to people. Something, please. We have to get them out in the real world if they're just going to be in charge of shit, which it seems like they are. Like, we must introduce them to grass.
Getting them in the Department of Treasury. They've been working for like a week in this shit. Only made AI stuff working in the Department of Treasury. Like, fuck you.
Yeah, it's really bad. It's really, really bad.
Well, that's our show.
And that's our show. Guys, we're going to be releasing an episode from the Patreon vaults next week.
In honor of President's Day, because
In
we do
honor of
love
President's
government.
Day. Yeah, because we really want to make sure to take time to honor all of the presidents and the amazing job that they've been doing for our whole
The
life.
best is yet to come.
And until next time,
Go
touch grass.
grass.
That was a headgum podcast.
Hi, I'm Caleb Heron, host of the So True podcast, now on HeadGum. Every week, me and my guests get into it, and we get down to what's really going on. I ask them what's so true to them, how they got to where they are in life, a bunch of other questions, and we also may or may not test their general trivia knowledge, whether it's one of my sworn enemies like Brittany Broski or Drew Wallow, or my actual biological mother, Kelly. My guests and I are just after the truth, and if we find it, great, and if not, no worries. So subscribe to So True on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Pocket Casts, or wherever you get your podcasts, and watch video episodes on the So True with Caleb Heron YouTube channel. New episodes drop every Thursday. Love ya.
Hey, it's Nicole Byer here. Let me ask you something. Are you tired of endless swiping on dating apps? Fed up with awkward first dates and disappointing hookups? Girl, same. Welcome to Why Won't You Date Me, the podcast where I figure out love and how to suck less at dating. Each week, I get real with comedians, friends, and celebrities about their love lives. We swap dating horror stories, awkward hookups, and dive into the messy and wonderful world of relationships. I've chatted with amazing guests like Conan O'Brien, Whitney Cummings, Sarah Silverman, Trixie Mattel, Tiffany Haddish, and so many more. So whether you're single, mingling, or booed up, there's something in it for everyone. Tune into Why Won't You Date Me with me, Nicole Byer, and discover insights that might just save you from your next dating disaster. Listen and subscribe on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. And catch full video episodes on YouTube. New episodes drop every Friday.